Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Today is Monday, February 25th, 2019, and it's now 9:10 a.m. A couple of hours ago, I had done a video, a live stream entitled The Vortex of Power. This was a very important video that I was doing a live stream. And at the 40-something minute marker, I noticed at that point, when I was closing the video, this stream, I noticed that the screen had frozen. And what I try to do when I'm doing a live stream on my iPad, I try to wiggle it just to make sure that the thing is really streaming, because if it's frozen, the screen, it's hard to tell. But if you kind of wiggle it, you can see that there's some movement, whatever. Well, I was really into what I was talking about. And even though I was talking for 40-something minutes, it actually cut itself off at the about 5 minutes and 30-something seconds marker. And the only thing that was captured in it was my intro when I was talking about the disparities of what the Civil Rights Act has done for American blacks. And it really didn't discuss the meat of the conversation. So it's not the first time that when I was speaking, doing a live stream, that the signal drops. So I have to make sure that the next time I do a live stream, to have it recorded, the audio recorded separately. So if you don't get the visual, at least the audio, and then I just upload it. This is very important. I entitled that video, The Vortex of Power. I was motivated to do this live stream from a YouTuber that I just discovered online just yesterday. And he focuses on Black history, Black politics. He's about the empowerment of Blacks as a whole. And I thought the information that he was giving was really interesting. He discussed about the illicit drugs, the laws that are passed in the U.S. regarding the disparities of crack cocaine versus regular, powdered form cocaine. And that if you get caught with 5 grams of it, it's a mandatory 5-year sentence. But if you have, forget the exact amount with the cocaine, but a larger amount of the cocaine, you get the same penalty. So for the same chemical, for the cocaine, you can have more of it, but you get a lighter sentence. So again, some things are designed to make Black people fail. And it was disclosed how the alphabet agencies target, that's also what he talked about, what I saw this morning, how Black communities were targeted in the 1980s with, remember, the Iran-Contra, when the government had a drug ring and getting arms for this group in Central America. But it was all illicit activity. And then also, just say no to drugs with the with Ronald Reagan and his wife, just say no. But they, as leaders, were actually promoting the importation of this drug, the crack cocaine, and targeting Black communities. I heard a program about that some years ago. But listening to him, it opened up some understanding And I don't remember the details about it, but ultimately, I wanted his discussion brought into my awareness about this vortex of power. And again, what is a vortex? Think of a vortex as a tornado. And it whirls around, it whirls and it sucks down. It's designed, a tornado captures everything in its path and it takes away. And then it destroys. And the power keeps on building up and building up. And so I started to notice that this vortex of power was being manifested this week, this past week, last week, I should say. It's specifically as it pertains to R. Kelly
and Juicy Smollett.
R. Kelly has been in the media and a complaint about him for over 20 years. Again, what I'm going to say is not in any way take away from the pain and sorrow from the people who became victims, harmed in any way of R. Kelly, the molestation and rape of young girls, young black girls primarily. And then there was also discussion that there was a tape that his brother found of him having sex with these 13-year-old white girls. Okay, so it's not about condoning bad behavior, evil behavior, or the guy from the TV show Empire of him giving false allegations about being attacked because him being black and homosexual. And it turns there is evidence that heavily suggests that he knew his attackers, paid his attackers to orchestrate the incident, and how that behavior embarrassed and targeted white people for blaming the attack on a white person. That's the first thing. Him lying and embarrassing the black community with his behavior. Him being also homosexual and say, hey, got attacked. He said epithets about being homosexual. So he affected a lot of people in a short period of time. People wanted to believe him. He's entitled to a fair trial. You cannot accuse them of something without a trial and and the outcome of the trial. But either way, the two incidences, the indictment and the arrest of the two, happened within a week's period. So that's a very short period of time. And there was a media frenzy with all of this. So you ask yourself, is this by accident or is it by design? I believe this is all by design, this activity. And this is where the vortex of power comes in, sucking out the resources of the black community. See, something with black Americans, whether mixed race or pure black, it doesn't matter. But there's a special power that is being harnessed from us that the system likes to tap into. Well, you say, what do you mean? Well, the activity of the media when the two men last week were arrested, it looked like a beehive, a swarm activity of the media. And most of these camera people were white men, and they get paid by being there and filming their arrests and any statements that they make. It makes money for them and ratings and all that. But it seems like a build-up. With R. Kelly, the build-up was a period of 20 plus years. There have been complaints about him for over 20 years. And it came out with one interview of a I think you call it prosecutor, that R. Kelly had paid off witnesses or some people in charge, that they were paid off. So that's how he was able to get off from being prosecuted that some years back. So now all this is coming forward about him. So you ask yourself, how does this vortex work? Well, again, you build up the tension. You use triggers at the right time to maximize the effect. And I'm also reminded about this vortex of power from the O.J. Simpson trial from the 1990s. Remember that? Here you have a famous celebrity. He used to be into football. He was a professional football player. Then he gone into acting after he retired from sports. He was very popular and well-liked. I never heard any negative stories about him. And then one day, I was new to town. I just came back. I lived away from New York City for a while. And when I came back to New York City, all the melee regarding the O.J. Simpson, what they call the speed chase. He was on the highway, and he allegedly had disguises on. The media, too, it was the same type of feeling, that this race, this frenzy, this shark frenzy, the white shark frenzy. He was arrested. There was a trial that lasted about 2 years. Like it was a division, a racial division. Whites primarily were very against O.J. He's guilty, very, very intense. And then the blacks, in contrast, were pro-Simpson. And it was like an extreme. It's this polarity. And I never saw anything in the media that was quite like this. The intensity. It didn't seem real. Why the extreme attention? Yes, he was a celebrity. But remember, around that time, there was another celebrity, well known, and for murder, the media was in favor of him and against the victim. So I didn't understand. It's okay, you have two actors being put on trial for murder of their spouse or former spouse, but one media hardly followed him, and when it did discuss him, it was very favorable. He's a good guy. But for O.J., it was another intensity. And then the release, when he got acquitted for the murder of those two people. I was also told about, with that case, the O.J. trial, that something about the phone records, and that the phone records will be sealed for a long period. It's sealed now. But I was told that this information is essential and that it indicates that the time that the murder was allegedly happened at 10-something, but she was on the phone calling her mother at 11. So how could she be dead and then talking to her mother around 11-something? And then they sealed the phone records. Why? Well, I think something was at play at the time. They wanted him, O.J., found guilty. They wanted that to happen, whatever reason. But again, they was priming the pump, building it up, holding information, and creating this vortex, this intensity, this polarity, which is unreal. and that lasted for 2 years. And then later on, he was again, he got imprisoned for the attempt to steal one of his sports awards. It was his. And someone talked him into taking what was his, and he foolishly agreed to it. But he's out of prison now. But either way, these things, this vortex of power seems to always occur to the intensity when it is a black person, a black male. Again, I'm not trying to diminish the pain and the sorrow of the families of these people who were killed, harmed in any way. I am focusing here on this vortex of power to tap into and exploit the social conditions of the black community, and in particular, black men. That is the focus on this. It is not about condoning behavior of wickedness, but how the system exploits and profits in its energy form. To tap into this energy, and it's this energy, it translates into wealth to those who are tapping into this energy. But it's designed to keep blacks out of the ability to sustain itself. This YouTuber that I just watched yesterday and this morning talked about Black Wall Street. So here you have a flourishing black community, and again, the vortex again, that this community in the Southwest, Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, in the 1920s, it was actually firebombed. And then later they put in a highway in there. So now the people can't even go back. But the whole black township was destroyed. And then the introduction, as time went on, first was the Civil Rights Act. Yeah, I remember now. The Civil Rights Act, this YouTuber talked about, and how the Civil Rights Act was as a tactic to actually destabilize the black community. And how that happened was they wanted black people to think that they could become equals to whites, and that we need equal access to the institutions, their schools, to be able to eat at a counter at a restaurant, to be able to go to a hotel or motel. They thought integration was a way to help them socially, but actually it was used to take away your power. And again, like that vortex, it's an invisible vortex, but you feel it. You don't see it, but you feel it. And then in the 1980s, by this time, you thinking that you're being accepted to go to a white establishment. How did this affect black neighborhoods? Well, because the white neighborhoods, the white establishments, they have more resources. They're able to pay, like let's say you're looking for a job. The white businesses have more resources and can pay the black person more money than when he went to his own community, because it's not as big. It's a smaller community. They have less resources. And so the patronage in the black community decreased because, hey, you can get you afford to be able to sit at a white restaurant. So they stopped going to their own. And then they didn't, the work. So it disintegrated. And then this YouTuber talked about that the welfare came about. I think he said it was in the 1935, and that the welfare system was also designed to keep you down, and in specific, the Black community. So now you no longer have that thriving Black Wall Street community anymore, and now you have to try to get a job in white businesses, but they don't want to hire you. And then you have the Civil Rights Acts of the 1960s. So now all these other so-called minorities take your spot, and white women take your spot. And so you have crumbs now. And so since now they don't have to hire you, they can just hire another so-called minority, the welfare thing kicks in, and then they keep you separate from your families, the male in the house. So you can't get the welfare if you have a male in the house, if you have children. So he's forced out. So it was designed to destabilize. So what I also learned from this YouTuber about knowing who you are. See, we're being told lies about our histories. Before our enslavement, there was a history. We were part of kingdoms and societies of education, of learning, of the arts. And all this is being, again, like the vortex of power being used against you, and they're sucking out your knowledge from this past history. You don't know yourself. So the media puts in lies about who you are, of your true identity, and you're believing it. And then they're also saying that these white people are the ancient, let's say ancient Egyptians who built the pyramid. So you're seeing this media of white people always in positions of power, of culture, and all that. When a lot of these societies got their power and their knowledge from Black societies in Africa. And the only thing you're being taught about yourself is that you are a slave. No, you were prisoners of war. You were kidnapped, and the vortex of power to make the system money suck everything out from you. So what I'm saying here today is to learn your history, learn to love yourself, and to learn self-control. See, once you step over the boundary line of self-control, that's how they're able to arrest you. When you get out of control, you become a target. The fear kicks in, and they want to arrest you, beat you up. So in the means of trying to protect yourself, again, nothing is foolproof, but I'm just giving you tools for you to use. One, to learn to know yourself, learn your history, your true history. Talk to your parents, your older relatives, to find out what happened. To learn to love yourself, love your neighbors, to work together with your Black neighbors and your Black families, and to have self-control. A way to develop self-control is through meditation. And ask the universe for protection and answers to discover who you are. Many of us, we don't have money to go take trips to Africa. We don't have that kind of luxury, time and money to do so. We're stuck here. So I'm encouraging you all to meditate and ask the universe to teach you what you need to know to get out of the vortex of power that's being used against you. And to have that energy be redirected for you to receive the energy that was stolen from you. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation. and that all things are possible. I thank you. If you like what I said and my channel, please support it. I have a PayPal Me account, and you can just go on my channel, Spirit Journey. Click on the top right of the banner and you see the link to my PayPal Me. Click on it and follow the prompts. Any amount would be appreciated. I thank you. Peace and love to you. Look in that mirror and say to yourself, I love you. I love you. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.